Good morning, folks, and welcome to another webinar. This one is going to be fun today. It's how to repurpose library space, the Listening Lab edition. And our speaker is Chad Marin. I've got a biography on him that goes several hours, so obviously I'll compress that. Chad's a librarian, a teacher, an author, and a self-described geek who frequently shares his enthusiasm for all things technology as a speaker at library and technology conferences. He's an information services librarian, assistant professor, and manages the Innovation Lab at St. Petersburg College. He's written a couple of book chapters and numerous articles on library technology, and he also plays drums in two bands, Fowler's Bluff and Low Season, and he organizes the Pinellas Comic and MakerCon, which is held each year at the St. Petersburg College Seminole campus. And I've worked with Chad a few times in the past, and if I were just going to introduce him really briefly, I'd say I'm not sure who I want to be when I grow up, but it's going to be either Elon Musk or Chad Marin, one of the two. So, Chad,
Nice.
take it away. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks a lot, Al. I really appreciate that. So I'm going to try not to cough too much because I've been sick, so I'm going to try not to cough. And if I do, I apologize in advance. I will cover up the mic. So anyway, today I want to talk about the Listening Lab, how to repurpose library space. And before this, Al and I were talking a little bit about how we used to present on ebooks a few years ago. That was a big trend in libraries, and now, and part of our discussion was, with all this free, space, all the shelf spaces, we got more space. We need to maybe start repurposing that space. And so here's one example of how we've done it at St. Pete College. So let's see. There we go. So I'm going to go over quickly the agenda. Just learn briefly how to digitize CDs. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how I created a web page based on iTunes XML data. You can still do it today. To discover how our donated and our purchased music collection is being cataloged and shared. We'll explore some programming ideas that we're doing in the space. And then understand the basics of valuing CDs, vinyl, VHS, and other mediums. We'll look a little bit about how people are using this space and interacting with the collection. It's pretty exciting, I think. And then we'll look at, I got to add the technologies. I do a lot with technology, 3D printing, graphic design, videography, that sort of thing that we're using for promotional purposes. I do want to say that before I move to that is, I do a lot around tech and all this stuff, and that's great. And a lot of times my librarian hat is off a lot of the times. It's just not a part of what I do every day anymore. But when I came back in and I wanted to start doing this music collection, it's been in my brain for over 10 years now of what I want to do, and it's finally now seeing the light of day. It's like now I'm really back to being a librarian again. Like I'm collecting music and all these different types of things we'll look at today. And it's more of my librarian duty, and I love it. I don't really need to think too much about tech when I'm here. I can just explore music and share music when I find good things. So anyway, I'm going to hop into this so we can get into this. So a lot of you have already done this. This is fairly simple to digitize CDs. Actually, you know what? I'm going to rewind for a quick second. I don't know if I have. Yeah, I'm going to put this picture up for a second. Don't really worry about reading it, but this is about 10 years ago. I still do visit all these book and music stores, like Barnes and Noble, Bananas Records, our local record stores, that kind of thing. And I used to be able to go to these places and listen to any CD, or I could take a record in and I could listen to the record before I actually purchased it. And I thought that was pretty cool. And I'm like, libraries should have this kind of luxury too. And so in my office back in the day, right outside my office, actually, there was this huge filing cabinet, metal, ugly filing cabinet. And inside it, there was a bunch of CDs, and they were just so hard to even browse. You couldn't even pull them out. When you did pull it out, there was stickers and library stuff all over them. And I was like, this is, I don't know if I really enjoy this, this is annoying. I can't even just discover things like I would in a bookstore or in a record store. So I'm like, I'm gonna open up our CD collection. And so that's when I decided to digitize all these things and put them in an iTunes um, library and go this way. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of overview of that. So that's what we did. So I started taking all the CDs out and digitizing them, and I would import them into our library. Um, so, and most of them were encoded in the MP3 format because they're smaller and pretty compatible with pretty much any device that you want to use now. So I decided to do MP3 encoding. And so here we go. And then I actually used home sharing. So in this case, I had a iTunes library that had all the music on it, and I used a crossover cable, an Ethernet crossover cable, to connect both of those computers. So these computers were not connected to the internet. And so, that's why I wanted to kind of keep it as basic as possible, just listening stations. So people would walk up, they could listen to whatever was digitized at the time. And I think back then I had close to 4,000 songs digitized. So I did use home sharing so we could connect more than one library. So essentially, if we're on the same Wi-Fi network, you could have up to 5 computers, Apple or Mac, or Mac or PC, connected to this one library. I did use deep freeze to protect the PCs. So somebody couldn't go in and delete all the stuff that I've worked so hard digitizing. So deep freeze protected that. I only ran essential Windows services. The taskbar and start menu properties were modified to actually minimize confusion regarding available applications and all that stuff. I did put the executable file in the startup folder so that the iTunes app launched automatically when the PCs booted up each morning. I did lock down BIOS too, so that our users could not just make a full-on copy of the music library for their own personal use. Now, of course, nothing stops our users from checking out a CD, taking it home to rip it, right? They do that stuff all the time. There's not much we can really do about it, right? In the library, let me go back here. I did use some of the actual fields, and I added the Library of Congress call number in here, in the comment field inside iTunes, so people could then listen to the music and then go out and find it in that ugly file cabinet I mentioned. I did clean up that file cabinet quite a bit, so just so you know. Some quick archive notes. I was using Apple scripts for iTunes. I'm not going to open that page up, but you can see there's a lot of scripts that you can use for Windows and for Mac too. I was working with Visual Basic scripting too, and it was basically, it would take the selected track in Internet Explorer. I don't know if you remember Internet Explorer, but and then what it would do is it would take that track in Internet Explorer and it would search our library catalog automatically for that CD. So it's pretty neat. I guess this is kind of techie, but anyway. And then later on, I actually created an XSLT style sheet to link to and style the XML code that iTunes generates on its own. And I'll show you a picture of that in a minute. So users outside the library could see a web page of our digitized music collection that linked directly to iTunes. So now they could either check out our library-owned CDs, or they could consider purchasing it through iTunes if they wanted. I was working on linking the iTunes XML code with our OPAC and the GraceNote music database. So the GraceNote, they basically partner with every major music label and independent labels to provide us with music album artwork, right? So the artwork was already added. So they're a huge database of music recognition, basically. So even in your car, when your car posts the name of the musician and song title, that's more than likely through the GraceNote Music ID database. So I was working on including all that stuff too. And then I downloaded some podcasts and some TED Talks and all songs considered by NPR and all this stuff. And I added all that stuff into the iTunes library just so people could have, access to other things as well. So if you want to look for your iTunes XML file in Windows, all you got to do is go to that directory, and then you should see the XML file. This is what it looks like. So you can see I actually just highlighted a couple things. So the one in blue shows the name of the CD. You can see all the artist, composer, all that stuff is in there. Down under the comments, you can see web page on desktop for more information. So they would click on that, and then all the catalog links and Grace Note and all that stuff was there. I'm really bummed out because I thought I had a copy of my my index file. I could not find it. I'm still looking. I even went on archive.org to see if they had a snapshot of it from 30 years ago or whatever. They said they did. I quite a few of them from a few years back, but I wasn't able to view it for some reason. So I know it exists out there somewhere, and I'll find it one of these days. I actually found my Library of Congress field report from 16 years ago, I think, on a floppy disk, and I was able to finally get a floppy drive that worked to be able to open it up. So I'll find this eventually. And then here's the XSLT file that styles that ugly XML file. This is pretty ugly too, but this is what actually makes the website look a little bit better. So let's look into how we, fast forward quite a bit here. So again, this whole digital music iTunes listening station, this is when the seeds were planted a long time ago, right? But I always wanted to add vinyl to this, So we ended up getting, let's go here. Over 2,000 records were donated by a doctor in Pasadena, Florida. And I'm trying to remember his name, and I looked it up. I couldn't find any documentation. All I know as of right now is it was a doctor in Pasadena, Florida. And it kind of bums me out because I want to put a little plaque up there saying that, the core of this collection is from this donation. Anyway, but it was stored at the Palladium Theater, which is an SPC building where we have a lot of really nice concerts and comedians and all kinds of stuff go through there. But it was just sitting collecting all this dust, and I'm like, and they finally asked me, hey, do you want this collection? And it's in phenomenal shape. It includes a broad range of classical, jazz, blues, and musicals. I was like, yeah, absolutely. Let's add this. So we did. And what's interesting is we have a space in the library that is called Retro Joe's. And it's just like a little cafe where students can go in and sit and eat and drink and, talk about whatever. But anyway, this stuff was already in Retro Joe's. So I was like, you know what, this is actually meant to be. This is where this collection should be. We have an old jukebox. Some of the fuses don't work right now, but I would love to get that working again. Really kind of cool. So this is what the display case is. So this is Retro Joe's, and you can see I've got some music stuff in there at this point. But when I remember walking in, going, and this is on the Gibbs Campus Library, by the way, in St. Petersburg. So I remember looking at this going, this is perfect for records. And I asked the facilities crew, I was like, is it possible for me to get rid of the top part of that glass? And they said, absolutely, there's no problem in that. So they came in, took that glass off, and this is where we started adding our vinyl. So you can see there was a few just books on display, nothing real archival, really. So, I mean, a lot of the stuff is in the back now, if people do want access to it, old yearbooks, that kind of thing. But now we've got tons of really good records in there. And I love it. And it's perfect height for most average size people. I mean, even a kid could probably look over it and see it if they wanted to. And you can see there's clear glass at the bottom. So it wouldn't be hard for somebody that's a little bit shorter to see what's going on. So then we had all these records, and we still don't have all 2,000 in there yet. I wanted to get probably 800 in at one point. So we've got about 800 in there. We're slowly going through the collection and pulling out the real valuable stuff and just kind of cataloging some things so people can check them out. So I was like, okay, so now we've got records. We need decent good turntables, and then so we got them. And what's interesting is we didn't write a grant or anything for this. I was just not even really begging. And I just mentioned, hey, look, this is what we'd like to get. And the provost of that campus said, well, I can give you guys $500. And everybody was like, great, that's amazing, thank you. And I was too. I was like, hey, thank you so much. It's very generous. And all I said was, hey, library side, can we match that? And I also asked the music department too. I'm like, can we like maybe go in half and at least match that? Um, you know, and then the provost came back maybe an hour later. She's like, well, okay, I can give you 1,000. I'm like, okay, wow, that's even more generous. So we had $1,000 to play with. And so we ended up getting the 2 turntables that you see there and the 4-channel mixers and 2 really nice headphones. And so all of that was under $900. And that even gave us a couple cartridges too, replacement cartridges if we ever need them. We do check out the headphones. So a lot of people come in and actually, they can use whatever headphones they have or they want to, or they can go out and check those other ones out. So we ended up getting the Audio-Technica LP120, and this is a professional stereo turntable. It's awesome. I actually want one. I want to replace mine at home now. But it features a high torque direct drive motor, and it starts up really quick. It rides really smooth. Excuse me. And there's also a USB output that connects directly to the computer for sampling. And we'll see later that students are actually doing this, which is awesome. Some of the other features, it does forward and reverse play. The cast aluminum platter is great. And it's got an easy start-stop button right there. There are 3 speeds, 33, 45, and 78s. 78s are pretty rare. I think there's a few in our collection, which is awesome. It's got a pitch lock, pitch change slider. What else it's got on there? Obviously the removable hinge dust cover. And you can see the little light that it has there to kind of, so we can see the grooves if you want to get a little bit more tricky with it. And also Audacity. Oh, one cool thing about this is there is an internal stereo phono preamp on this. So you can actually just plug this directly into like powered speakers and you wouldn't need a preamp, which is kind of nice. And we also got Audacity software, which is free open source software, but that's there to digitize LPs. So that's kind of a cool thing. Our mixer is a Newmark M6 USB 4-channel mixer. This is, we ended up getting 2 of these too. So this actually works with standard audio sources like turntables and CD players, but this also has a USB computer connection. So you can connect a Mac or a PC to it. But what's cool is you can now mix audio from a CD player or your record player or anything externally like your phone or whatever. And now you can actually kind of play DJ and kind of mix things on the fly and then put them right into your sampler, into your computer running Audacity or whatever it is that you're using. So yeah, it's got an EQ in there, and it also has a microphone input too that you can use if you want to kind of speak over what you're doing. And then our Sony headphones, these are really sweet. They do fold up very nicely for storage. We actually have them in a Tupperware box type of thing with a barcode on top, so students can come in and check them out if they want to. But these are beautiful, beautiful headphones. They work very nice. Excuse me. And then we also have the replacement cartridge. And this is really great. And it's got the mounting hardware with the stylus guard and all that stuff too. So give me a second to take one sip here. Okay. So also I've been donating a lot of my collection. So I've got a ton of CDs that have been, unused for a while. And so I look around and I'm like, gosh, I got all these just CDs in my house collecting dust. I'm going to donate them. And it really works out on a bunch of different levels, because now my music collection is being cataloged, right? It's also being dusted off and getting off my shelf for the public to be able to discover new music. I have a pretty eclectic collection. I have a lot of weird tastes in music, and so I'm donating pretty much all of my collection, my family's collection, to this. And what's nice is we do have it tagged. So it's tagged Marin Collection. So here's what it looks like live here. So here's some of the music that's added. These are pretty much CDs at this point. I've donated some records. I'm keeping a lot of my records. But this is our OPAC that now has, it's taking forever to load here, it looks like. There it is. That shows where everything is, and then there's the Marin Collection again. So, and we're doing the same with the vinyl collection as too. Once we get the gentleman's name, his full official name. Okay, why did that come up again? Hang on. Okay. So here's one of the CD carriages. This is not the old monolithic file cabinet I mentioned earlier. You could barely get into that thing. So these drawers open up, and it's easy to browse CDs. But I am cataloging, or I'm organizing all these by genre. Then I'm doing it alphabetical. I'm not sorting them by call number, because I really want this to be more like a record store, and I want people to come up and go, you know what, I'm looking for some jazz, and they can go into this certain section. I'm going to label each, area very, very clearly, where you can be like, oh, here's the jazz section. Okay, I'm going to browse through these CDs or whatever, and they can kind of look through what we've got. It's a really nice way to kind of discover new music. And we've even got some interesting CDs. This is from my collection. This is a Tool CD that actually has 3D glasses already attached to it. So you can see like an Alex Gray weird imagery in the background that when you look through those glasses, it's all 3D. So some pretty interesting types of things that we're adding to the collection too. And then I'm also working on, once we get more of the vinyl cataloged, it's been a slow process. We've got probably 150 records out of 800 cataloged, which isn't that bad. But we'll eventually have it all cataloged, and people can check things out for 7 days. So it's kind of a nice thing. The things that aren't cataloged obviously won't be checked out right now. But I'm eventually planning on adding our collection to Discogs too. So Discogs is the largest physical music database on the web. And it's a user-generated database that has, I think last time I checked, more than, like 10 million copies of music that's listed. But it's also a marketplace, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But so you can see down here, I can add a field for call number as well. So this will be at Discogs, and so this is a global music database. So that's kind of a neat way for us to provide a little bit of visibility as to what we're doing. And it's been kind of, so we've got this really good core collection of, classical, blues, jazz, a little bit of rock, and like show tunes and that kind of thing. But I'm also ordering essential vinyl through a local record store, and this is beautiful. We're just now kind of prototyping this, because normally we go through traditional channels, like Baker and Taylor or whatever it is, and that sometimes, you're getting, I don't know, it's so difficult sometimes to get, especially vinyl, right? So I asked, hey, is it okay if I reach out to a local record store and send them lists of vinyl that we want, and have them give us a quote, and then we will then look at the quote and then send them a purchase order, and then they'll give us all the vinyl that we want, and then we'll pay them that way. Because local record stores, first off, the one we're working with loves the fact that we're doing this. Like, he just thinks it's amazing that, an academic / public library is actually offering this service. So he's very happy to be able to offer some of this stuff, um, very much below cost almost. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody. Um, and we promote all the different local record stores. We don't just pick one, um, but this is a really cool thing, I think, that we are partnering with a local record store to get some of our core vinyl that's really not showcased in this collection, the donated collection. So you can see there's a lot of different stuff in here. We've got, like hard rock and thrash and hip hop and reggae and Elvis Presley and Afro-Cuban music and some punk rock, soul music, jazz, and the list goes on and on. It's probably 40 titles at first. We're just going to kind of, like I said, prototype it and see how it works out. Um, we had somebody. Okay, so here's a picture of the video surveillance. And what's funny about this is that's Retro Joe's. But if you look down, you see where the HP logo is. That's where all the vinyl is. So that the display cases are not even shown in the video. Now, we had some master discs. So those are the discs that are actually sent out for mastering. So we had a few of those, and I've got them in my office now, but because they're worth a decent amount of money. But we had a report of some of them were missing. So we were like, ultimately, like, okay, this is theft. We're gonna have to deal with theft here, which is which will happen, I'm sure. But I'm still waiting to hear back. It's been a couple months now. If we can, tune those cameras to kind of look down a little bit on the vinyl collection, so we can at least see, if people walk out and that kind of thing. For the most part, I don't think we're gonna have to worry too much. We are going through the collection to make sure there's nothing openly valuable. And then what we'll do is maybe put little placards up that say, hey, this album's very valuable. We have it if you want to listen to it, but we're not letting those be checked out for obvious reasons. So hopefully soon we'll get this camera readjusted to where we can actually get a better view of what people are doing with the records. So you can actually see the CD collection over there and the jukeboxes over there and all that, but not a good look at the vinyl. All right, so let's look at a couple programming ideas. So bring your own vinyl sharing and discovery events. I'm really excited about this. I've been wanting to do this for quite a while, where we go to Retro Joe's and set up a record player, and it's already there. We'll just have to, we're not all going to be wearing headphones, but it'll be played through speakers, and we're all just going to bring one of our favorite records to come in to share with the group. I'm pretty excited about this. So that we're probably going to wait until January to start these, but it's a really good way to discover new music. St. Petersburg College also has a radio station. It's called SPC Radio, and me and another librarian, Joe Tarana, we actually created Unshushable Music from the Vault, which is a radio program where we kind of highlight what's in this collection, and it's really kind of fun. And we're actually doing one tomorrow, believe it or not. We're supposed to be there at 1:30. Hopefully, my voice is a little bit better than it is today, and we're going to go in and kind of showcase some of our new vinyl and some of the stuff that's kind of under lock and key, I guess, under the that people might not know we have. And then what we'll do is we'll create our show notes, as you can see down there, with links to where you can actually get it from our collection and can take it home. So we're not just creating a listening lab. Oh, another thing we want to do is we actually want to do live shows from inside the listening lab. So we can actually I can do it through my laptop and a nice microphone. I can do kind of impromptu shows from right inside the listening lab. Maybe interview people that are in there. What did you find today that's really cool? What you want to share? That kind of thing. And go directly live on our internet radio station. We're also doing pretty bigger events. This one's going to be fun. Not until April 6th, but it's our first Good Vibes Only Art and Music Festival. So SPC and we're partnering with the University of South Florida, St. Pete, where we're going to have this big festival. We got quite a bit of funding through both student government associations. So what's cool about this is we'll actually have SPC radio out there. So, we'll be out there kind of doing our thing and showcasing our collection, but also local musicians, that kind of thing. So it's a really exciting time for us. So if you're in St. Pete and you want to check that out, Saturday, April 6th in Williams Park, which is in downtown St. Petersburg. It's beautiful. I really love this. So the other day, and I'm going to find you the, excuse me one second here. I'm going to drag this in. So I found this the other day through Open Culture. So it's a map of the U.S. that is created out of 1,000 song titles that reference cities, states, landmarks, and more. So I wanted to open this up so you can kind of see where is it? Why is it not doing it now? Is it this one? Hang on. Yeah, let me show you the other one. Sorry about that. It's this link. So you can see, this doesn't really do a good job either, but it's deep in the heart of Texas. So all these names are from songs. So at first I thought we could probably print it, but then the high def version was just way better, and it's only 30 pounds, which I think is about $40 US dollars. But it's gorgeous. So we actually bought it the other day, and it's actually we're getting ready to frame it. And the cool thing is it's going to be it's a decent size. I forget the exact size now, but it looks beautiful. And so you can see the California side, a lot of Beach Boys songs for California. Deep down in Florida, dear old Florida, Miami Vice, Coconut Grove, really cool. Just a really great idea. And what I love about it even more is that, whoops, I keep going the wrong way, is that there is an accompanying Spotify playlist. So you can see there's 913 songs listed here. I would really love to be able to one day have like an augmented reality segment to this where you can kind of have the map up, put your phone over it, and then kind of see more about that song. Obviously, I don't think I could do it for 913 songs, but for some of the main ones, it might be a cool augmented reality thing to add. But anyway, there is a really good Spotify playlist that accompanies that poster, which is really kind of neat. I'll probably put some kind of a QR code or an NFC code or some kind of a beacon or something in there where when people see that poster, it'll say, hey, if you want, here's the playlist that goes with it. So then they could be listening to it while they're kind of exploring this map. Okay. We're also working on lunchtime live intimate concerts in the radio studio. So it's sort of like NPR's desktop concerts, where they have really kind of nice concerts inside their office. If you've never seen those, you definitely want to check them out. They're great. So that's kind of an idea, is to invite bands or solo artists to come in and kind of do a live session. We'll then interview them, talk a little bit about more what they're doing, what shows they have coming up, that kind of thing, and actually do it right around lunchtime. And it'll be recorded. It'll be video recorded as well as audio recorded, and then put in rotation on the radio station. So it'll be live, but it'll also be on rotation so people can hear it if they weren't there during the lunchtime event. Excuse me. So talk briefly about how to value all this stuff. And I mostly focus on vinyl, but you can do the same kind of concept here through pretty much anything. VHS, CDs, even cassette tapes, believe it or not. Okay. So Discogs. Again, I mentioned this earlier, the largest physical user-generated music database online. It is committed to being completely open source. So it includes making sales or marketing sales data, which is completely public. So this is where you can actually determine the current value of vinyl based on recent sales throughout the world, which is really kind of cool. So it basically says here, step one is identify the record version. That can be tricky sometimes. And then navigate to the Discogs release page. and then look at the final, find the prices in the statistics section, where you can see at the bottom of here, the lowest was $84 for one of theirs, and the highest was like $1,122. So they also have, what I use sometimes is actually the Discogs app. So a lot of vinyl has a barcode on it, so you could scan it with this app, and then it brings you right to whatever it is. And so it's a way for you to kind of keep track of your record collection. Once you find it, you just add to collection, and now you've got your online collection. It's a good way to organize your records and that kind of thing. So it's interesting. So you can look at the release version. So for example, like Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon could be worth anywhere from like $13 to anywhere up to like $250. Now, obviously, if it's like a first print and it was a limited release of say 100, then that's going to be worth a lot of money, right? So it takes a little bit of time to value this stuff, but I've been using this Discogs app to kind of figure out how to value all this. So what I wanted to do is, let's go in here. Bear with me here. I'm going to go into Discogs and just show you here what it looks like live. So here's Discogs. I'm actually logged in and as me, but I'm going to go in and I'm going to search for Talking Book. This is a Stevie Wonder record. So it's we're all librarians. We can all search pretty well here, but let's go. So over here you got all your facets. So I'm interested in vinyl because Talking Book was just donated. So I'm going to click on vinyl, and then you don't really need to worry about the genre and all that right now because we know this is the album. Maybe we want to look. Maybe it's for like a UK or maybe it's a Germany pressing. So you can click on that, and then click on it, whatever one it is. So let's look at this and see that this one, the lowest for this was like $2.84, right? If you wanted to buy this now on Amazon, it'd probably be $30. So, but a lot of times you get it from a record store for $2. Looks like the highest one for this particular pressing was the highest is about $28.41. So this gives you an idea. This is where I'm looking, by the way, as to how to rate this. You could add it to your collection if that's the one, and then or add it to your want list. I have a few things on my want list, but you can do it all here. Gives you all the track listing, quite a bit of information. And catalogers, I'm not a cataloger, but I'm sure catalogers can use this. I'm hoping that I could actually add maybe the Discog link into our catalog too, so people can get it from both ways. They can go to Discogs and see it, and they can also go to our catalog record and see it connected that way. So you can see there's a lot of information in here. It's interesting how they connect, they recommend Frank Zappa on a Stevie Wonder Talking Book record. That's pretty interesting to me. Okay, let's close that out. You might also hear about the GOLDMINE Standard. This is where they kind of talk about, what condition it's in. So mint basically means it's never been played, right? So if you see mint and it's been opened, then it's not mint. So that's kind of an easy way to determine that. Near mint, very good, all these different things. That's considered the GOLDMINE Standard. A lot of serious record collectors will do what's called play grading. And at the bottom of this slide, you can see I've got some samples that kind of give you an idea of what it sounds like what a very good record would sound like. Are there a lot of pops and does it skip, that kind of thing. So what they ask you to do is they ask you to look close at vinyl, like under a good light, and see if it's got any damage, right? Is there water damage? Are there tears? Are the edges bent? Is there a lot of discoloration, that kind of thing? But a lot of times you're not going to get a completely accurate value evaluation unless you actually play grade it, which means putting it on the turntable and playing it and listening to it, and watching it as it plays. Is it bouncy? Is it skipping, and that kind of thing? So again, that's called play grading. So if you're interested, you'll have access to this presentation later where the play grading samples are. If you're interested in this, I do recommend signing up maybe for a vinyl newsletter through Discogs, or even becoming part of their community. It's really, I learn a lot from them every day. And you can send up, you can ask for, them to follow up on certain records that you want them to find for you, that kind of thing. A couple of things, what we're going to be doing in the library is kind of how-tos, how to hold vinyl. You'd be amazed at how many people don't know how to do this. I've had quite a few students come in, and I'll show you an example of one here in a few minutes, who have never handled vinyl. And so I've got some good handouts and a couple of videos. I'm actually going to do my own video very soon. But we've got some vinyl rules, and I love that because vinyl does rule, and also there are rules to handling vinyl. So, and this is something that students and believe it or not, some faculty need to learn, is that you just don't handle the playable surface. You need to hold it by the edge or by the label. Keep the records clean. Use a brush to gently spin on the vinyl as it spins and move it towards the spindle. You got to keep that stylus clean, and that's something that we're actually going to do too. So it's really not that difficult. Also, you don't want to store vinyl. It's got to be stored vertically. You don't want to have it horizontal, especially if there's a lot of vinyl on top of it, because then it starts to warp. Don't store it in your car in 90-degree weather. It's not a good idea. Some vinyl cleaning supplies. We've got this stylish brush, which cleans the stylus, gets all that fuzz and stuff off there. They do have record cleaning brushes with the cleaning solution that really keeps your records clean. Believe it or not, a clean record sounds so much better. And sometimes it can get rid of a lot of that crackling stuff that you hear. So definitely get into the habit of cleaning your stylus and the actual record itself. They also have very expensive and fairly sophisticated what they call wet cleaning. That Gem Dandy is basically PVC pipe, but you actually, you put it in your sink, and you spin the record around on that little spindle thing, and you basically hose it down. And when you look at it, sometimes you're like, wow, this is kind of crazy. And then you've got the Music Hall vacuum cleaning machine. It's about $700, but it cleans records beautifully. And obviously, we're not going to spend that kind of money. We're going to use the generic, cleaning supplies that work pretty good. But if you're a serious collector, then you'd probably want to look into something like this. I don't plan on getting to that point anytime soon. So how are people actually using this space? So one of my favorite collections right now is our 33 1/3 book series. And these are short books. Excuse me. These are short books about albums. And so what I'm trying to do is buy records that correspond with this book series. So let me see if this is going to play. Bear with me here. Oh no, don't do this. Don't you love it when that happens? Let's see if I can. Okay. Please don't close down. Anyway, maybe I won't open that. Okay. Bear with me, guys. Sorry about that. I don't know what's up with let's try to open this again. Okay. All right, we're back. And Okay. I apologize for that. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Anyway, I'm not going to try to open up my little Facebook video that walks you through some of the stuff that we have here, but these books are great. I've read a couple of them, and they go into complete detail about some of your favorite records. So I always tell students, it's great to listen to a record and appreciate and all that stuff, but these are like some scholarly type of works that people are working on. I don't know if you can see this, but the lower half, excuse me, the lower half of those 33 1/3 books, you can see all the stickers they put on them. I sent them back to the library processing people and said, can you please take that stuff off? Because I want this to be a browsing space. So you can see now, right as of now, all of those stickers are gone. So somebody can walk in and just kind of browse through them and pull them off and go. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to showcase certain records that I like that we have the books for, and just saying, hey, this is a great combination here. You might want to check it out. So, and that'll be part of our Bring Your Own Vinyl series too. And these are all cataloged, and they have a 33 1/3 series tag as well. I came in the other day, and there was a student in here sampling records. He had his own laptop, and he was using his own software, but I was like, man, this is great. And when I talked to him, he said, this is actually the first time I've played a record. And so he was sampling it already. And so he's a musician, and he wants to kind of get some actual beats and some trumpet lines, that kind of thing from the actual record, which is how they did it back in the day. And I think that's extremely cool. Our music industry recording arts classes, they have two what they call critical listening classes, and they are bringing those classes into the listening lab where they actually, they have to determine, does vinyl sound better than CDs, and listen to some actual classical pieces on vinyl, which with these turntables I showed you earlier, it sounds really good. So our music classes are going in there, and they're doing critical listening in the listening lab. We're also promoting local shows. So when bands have concerts and that kind of thing in the area, we actually post their flyers in here. So kind of a cool thing. And then I try to share good finds. So this is part of the librarian part of my life that I love. So I get to walk in and kind of go through the vinyl and say, okay, these are the next set of things I want to get cataloged. But I actually listen to it too. I go in and I get to listen to some things, and this was a great find the other day. This album is in great condition. Count Basie meets James Bond. So Count Basie's doing James Bond songs, and it's just a gorgeous record. And so this is I'm going to at least share one of these songs tomorrow in our radio program. I'm pretty excited. We even got a donation for some VHS tapes, and some of them are actually bootlegged, and I'd like to figure out a way to get that stuff cataloged. I don't know if we legally can, but I'm not going to let this stuff circulate. But we've got this old school TV that has a VHS player attached to it, which I think is pretty funny, but it works, and so people can actually watch some of these bootleg videos in here. I think it's kind of a cool thing. I do also have a DVD/VHS thing that I can bring into if people want to watch any DVDs that we have, because we do have a pretty decent DVD collection too. So here, the other day, another student in here just hanging out, listening to music. Some of them like you saw the student before, brings up chairs, and they actually get really comfortable. And then we have a section. This was an old picture. We've got this bin's actually almost full now of records that can actually be checked out of the library. And we did get plastic sleeves for everything. So we're not putting the barcode and all that stuff, limited stickers and that kind of thing. So if people take them out of the sleeve, they actually have the full-on record that they can look at the artwork and read the liner notes and all that. So just some things that we've actually done to kind of help with promotional purposes. The first thing we did is we actually designed a 45 RPM adapter. And I'm not going to try to play the video. Last time I did it actually crashed my system. But the first 45 RPM has Listening Lab cut into it. And then the other version there, version 2, has actually got Listening Lab in 3D. So as the record spins, it looks really cool. So this is a way for us. It takes us, I think, 4 minutes to print one of these. So I plan on printing them in a bunch of colors and using them as, hey, take this with you, kind of thing. You go to a record store, they give you 45 RPM adapters usually for free. It's a good way to promote what we're doing. I also use Canva. If you've never used Canva, it's a really great web-based graphic design program. I can even use it on my phone now. So you go in and you can, create logos and that kind of thing. And there's one kind of concept of Listening Lab logo I'm still working on, actually. I'll have to get official approval through the college, but just trying to get some ideas. And here's some of the things that I've done in Canva. Just some basic signage, please return vinyl to the bin. We're going to put it back for you so it doesn't get all misplaced. The handling and playing vinyl handouts that we actually just have as handouts so people can leave with them if they want. And there is a QR code at the bottom where they can scan that, and it actually has a video of somebody that shows you how to handle vinyl, which is going to be a video I do soon. I just haven't had time to do it. We also have a handout that shows the basics of the different components of our turntable, that points to what the things are called so they all know. We can all be on the same page. A little, visit the info desk for headphones kind of a deal. And then that big poster you saw earlier, I actually designed in Canva, and it turned out beautiful. We actually framed it. Some other things that we have in this collection, which for some reason it didn't save, so my other version crashed with it. But I had a picture of my band, actually, and the reason why is because I'm trying to create a local collection as well. And we're also trying to go out and capture live shows that we can then catalog and keep in this library, in our listening lab. I think that's a really cool idea for us to kind of, document the local music scene. We also have like Tape Op magazine is in there, and Razor Cake magazine, really good music magazines. We've got the Fieldworks collection down there. It's got a book, 6 records. It's gorgeous. So we and then Beck has a song reader. So we've got tons of sheet music in there. Students actually come in and read along sheet music with some of the music that's here. And then we've got some other box sets of CDs and stuff. So I'm trying to create an eclectic collection and that sort of thing. We're also doing a 360-degree video, and so hopefully do more of that to kind of add to the local collection. I think that's kind of neat. Whoops. So let's see if this actually works. So we actually did a promo video the other day, and so TBLC came in. You probably won't be able to hear it. I can send you.
Okay, Chad, we froze. I've got a hunch that playing the video took us past the bandwidth of GoToWebinars, past their threshold. I don't know whether you can hear.
Kind of overview of what we're doing, that sort of thing. I'm not going to play the whole slowing way down. Hopefully you're able to still hear me. And just some interviews with some faculty talking about our 33 1/3 collection. Yep. So just some, nice little overview of what we've got going on in the listening lab. So I'll send that link off, or you can see it right down here at the bottom if you're interested in checking out what we're talking about. Highlighting some of the records. Students, again, talking about the music collection that they're using. Kind of showcasing some of the CDs, some of the records, that kind of thing. You get the idea. So yeah, here's some of the CD collection. And again, I've got stacks of them ready to go. So really for me, this whole listening lab concept, is really all about discovery. And there's some little kids at a record store. I love it. And then my daughter with one of our old record players. I don't have that one anymore, but um, it's just about them learning about music and discovering different ways to play it. Especially the younger generation needs to know that records are actually still a big part of what we're doing. So the slides will be up on slideshare.net/Chad Marin. I'll also send them to Florida Library webinars so you can have access to them. And if you ever need to get a hold of me, if I didn't cover something or if you want to learn more about certain things, don't hesitate to get a hold of me. I'm always around. So thanks again for listening, and I apologize for coughing so much. I hope it wasn't too disruptive.
Chad, it actually wasn't a problem. We knew you were coughing, but it was not disruptive. Folks, we've got a couple of minutes left, and remember you can ask questions down in the chat window. So if there's anything that you want to hit Chad with right now, go ahead and type it in down there. I'll remind you that we've been recording this session, and once I get it downloaded and turned into the right format, I will share it with Diana, and Diana will put it up on the Florida Library Webinars website, and you'll be able to come back for a nearly instant replay of Chad's presentation. Chad, thank you for doing this today. I had a great time listening to this, and was remembering some other stuff. So it looks like I'm looking at the chat window here, and at the moment I'm not seeing anything. We'll give them another 30 seconds or so because it's so easy to here we go.
Thank you. Oh, hey, Marina. Marina's one of the people that actually helps me with all this vinyl stuff.
Well, now she'll finally know why she's doing it. She's been thinking that it was just some curse laid on her that she had to do it, but no, there's been a reason for it.
Yeah, it's been really fun, I tell you. I mean, it's really, like I said earlier, it's part of me becoming a librarian again. I get to be thinking like that, and I kind of missed it, So
I've got a question for you here, which I get to do aloud because my microphone works. Is there a digital recording format that actually sounds as good as vinyl? I'm not sure I'm asking that correctly. I don't at the moment. I'm not one of the students who gets to do comparative listening. I'm just curious about what is it that makes a vinyl playback better than a digital one?
I think it's the analog versus digital thing. I always tell people it's like digital is 0 1 0 1 0 1, so it's kind of more like, I think of it as a step, like stepping stones, or not even stepping stones, more like a step. Whereas analog is more of like a wave, like a nice smooth wave. So you get more of the harmonics and all that in there. A lot of times, if it's compressed, you lose some of the overtones. Like say a cymbal, for example, you don't, it's noise. It's like a drum cymbal is noise, but all those overtones that go beyond a certain compression, it still impacts the sound.
Okay, so what I would get here is that the issue is that we don't have a digital format yet that's capable of chopping it into pieces small enough so that the audio portion of the human brain can't see the divisions. We've got, X number of frames per second. What is it, 30 or 60, that when we're watching, it's like, oh, okay, that's actual movement. And as we move from 1080 to 4K and 8K, we get closer and closer to reality. So any digital format, the separations between the digital parts are still apparent at some subconscious level, and until we can make those divisions so small we can't detect them, the analog will always be superior.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, there's probably people out there that would disagree with me, of course, but I will say there is a format called FLAC, F-L-A-C, that's very much similar to the wave format that doesn't really do a lot of compression. So it'll keep it at like 44 hertz and all that. I will say the way I kind of explain it to people too is when I put a CD in, sometimes to me it sounds so digital that it's almost fragile. Like it sounds like it's gonna like shatter when I listen to it. And a lot of music is recorded like that now too, very high end and just sounds so brittle to me. When I put a record on, it just has this warmth to it. It just doesn't have that brittleness to it, even though the record itself is brittle, but the sound that comes out of it doesn't sound so fragile to me. Does that make sense?
I think so. It probably makes way more sense to you than to me because you have actual musical skills and I do not. But aside from that, yes.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Good question, though.
Yeah. We're going to wrap this up. I've seen no new questions coming in. So, folks, again, thank you very much for attending. I will get this transformed and get it to Diana. We'll put it up on the website. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks a lot, guys.